So welcome to the astrology course, when I'm going to share with you the information and the knowledge, the observation as I'm looking at this. And before we are going into markets and financial things, serious things, it's very important that we align ourselves with what is astrology and how we relate to sky and planets. This class is a free one, just to give you sort of a general alignment with the knowledge. Astrology is a science of time. When we can learn from the past, learning on the present and on the future through what we are watching and experienced or going to experience, and to do our alignment with it. This is like a projector in the universe that is showing us a Zumba dance, and we need to follow it. If we are not following it voluntarily, the universe will force us through our inner changes to follow those changes, because everything should change according to what above, so below. So the more we become more in harmony and we learn the cycles and we understand that we could not rise all the time, we should experience the decline, and this is the wave. And the more we are aligned with those ups and downs, off and around, and the imbalances of the time, as astrology is illustrating, the more lucky, abundant, and in flow we are going to feel, because each wave, like for surfers, is giving a new bliss, and new people coming in every week, in every wave, in every period, and they are opening for us new languages, new experiences, etc. So the modern astrology, to my observation, is looking on the solar system from the galactic center, sort of, that according to science we understand that is located in 27 degrees of Sagittarius. From the Vedic astrology, which called also sidereal, we are looking on the stars as human that looking on the planets, like human looking on the sky. And this is creating a gap of 23 degrees, meaning that when we are measuring in tropical astrology Mars in 2 degrees of Sagittarius, actually from the Earth point of view, from the sidereal/Vedic astrology, we are going to see it in Scorpio, not in Sagittarius, because it's 23 degrees prior to this. However, both systems are mapping the sky from Aries to Pisces. So this is the Zodiac, is the zoo of the sky, is how all civilizations that were here on Earth looked and observed and learned from the same phenomenons, what is above, and applied it through rituals and religious, what we know today. So very fascinating example, very few. For example, the Passover, the Easter, and the Ramadan that are happening around the same time. The Ramadan is the time of the Ram, when we are speaking about the area that the moon and the sun, the new moon of Aries area, that is around April. Passover is from the time or the understanding that the sun is passed over the zero line of the zodiac, like completing a cycle from Pisces to Aries, and this is the equinox day, when this is the equivalence between night and day on Earth, and is also called Eastern because this is exactly the point where the sun rises and where the point of Aries begins. And the Ramadan is the Ram that is the symbolism of Aries, that this is the beginning of this period. Everything is astrology. Most holidays of the Jews and most holidays of the Muslims are going according to the moon cycle full moon, new moon. I don't very much familiar with all the holidays of the Muslims, but as the Islam came just in the 500 years after Jesus, almost 600 years after Jesus, and the Jews' holidays are happening in full moon timing, except the Rosh Hashanah, which is the beginning of the year according to the Jewish tradition, that also change in the Bible timing, that usually happening around, not around, is exact, is happening on the new moon of Virgo. Why they changed it is also astrological, because before, together with the Exodus, this was happening in Passover. This also, the Passover is the story of this, of a new beginning. And the beginning of the year was like today, some religious in Iran are celebrating the 21st of March, the equinox day, to be the head of the year, which is the original one, which is the absolute universal new year. The Jews also weren't according to this, but years after, they just translated it differently and decided to go with the new moon of Virgo to be the Rosh Hashanah, what happens around September. We will understand why Virgo and what's the essence of Virgo to be so unique and exact. The word exact is the word Virgo. And fixing and pure, it's all about purity. Okay, also Aries is purity because it's just the beginning, it's like the baby. And we also know the story that Jesus born aside a lamb, right? So it's very interesting, aside a lamb. And in Bethlehem, what is Bethlehem? Lechem is bread, and Bet is the house of the bread. And this is very much related to Virgo, because who is the ruler of the bread? The wheat is the Virgo. And the mother of Jesus was Maria, that was virgin, like Virgo. So this is a debate between who is more innocent, the Aries, that is just a baby born, or who brought him to this purity, and this is the Virgo, the virgin. Okay, very interesting contemplation. Now, much before we are even start speaking about economy or markets or trends, we have characters in sky of the planets. But before we even understanding what each planet and what about the planet, we need to understand the mapping of the sky, the 12 zodiacs.